So we're going to start a voyage around the Mediterranean with this little vermouth, delicious. And it's going to be accompanied with aperitivo of a kind of marinated brochette with anchovies from the Costa Brava, just up the coast. And the concept of aperitivo has its origins in Piemonte, in the north of Italy in the 18th century, when a Piemonte king, he demanded a glass of sweet, spiced white wine just before his meal. And it's very typical in all of these countries to do that before you start eating. So this tapa is a croqueta, very typical to have croquetas, right, in tapas culture. It's with cuttlefish, which is sepia, kind of a type of squid, and green pepper. This concept of seafood and vegetable or meat or something from the land is very typical in Catalonia. They call it mare montaña, the sea and the mountain. And it's also very representative of the maritime culture which exists in this neighborhood, which used to be just on the seafront in medieval times, and also the whole seafaring culture in the Mediterranean, where the sailors always had their eye on the sea, but their mind was back on the land. So this part of the journey is a bit of an ode to French gastronomy. The French, they know how to do things with style and quality. So we're gonna propose to you a tarte tatin. You might be surprised because that's a dessert, but instead we put a little bit of foie gras on it and a bit of red wine sea salt, which gives it a delicious kind of salty sweet flavor. So it's the tarte tatin with a twist. So this is the meze stage of the journey, very typical to have meze and dips in the kind of Near East and Middle Eastern food culture. These dips have been on our menu since forever and will be forever on our menu. Probably they're super classic of the house. Different flavors and served with mini pita from Haifa, a town on the eastern Mediterranean coast, according to a traditional Palestinian recipe. So now in the journey we're going to move to Eastern Mediterranean, to around Cyprus, Greece, Lebanon. It's halloumi cheese served with the chef's pesto, and then also a medjool date wrapped in bacon, delicious, placed on a vine leaf. So this step actually represents the wine culture of the Mediterranean, which is huge, it's extensive, it's very old as well. And in this part of Europe, the Eastern Mediterranean is where they found the original amphoras to store and age wines thousands of years ago. So it's part of the food tradition of Middle East and North Africa to have this big plate with lots of different meats on it, with spices and kind of kebab style. So this is what this dish represents. It's a bit of a main course, if you want to call it like that. We call it the meshwi. So it's got some different meats, but also fish that's very typical to the Mediterranean. Also some oven roasted potatoes that melt in the mouth with 5 spices. And this is the meshwi just before the last stage. So for anyone who's read Homer's Odyssey, it's all about the journey. It's not the destination that matters. However, at Ziryab we do believe that a happy ending always helps. So this is our ending. It's the end of our journey. It's a tagine, so you may think that it's something that it's not, but in fact it's a very sweet and happy ending. And you have to come and try our tasting menu to find out what's inside. Over here, guys. I'll show you the kitchen and introduce you to our chefs. Roldinho.
Hola.
¿Qué tal?
Hola, soy Osvaldo, jefe de cocina del restaurante Ziryab. Llevo 5 años ya en esta gran familia y bueno, a continuación os presentaremos unos cuantos ingredientes del Mediterráneo que usamos en nuestros platos. Este es nuestro queso halloumi, muy popular entre los clientes. Está elaborado con 3 leches y nos lo traen desde Chipre. Otro de los quesos que podemos degustar en nuestro restaurante es este pecorino de la isla de Cerdeña, Italia, y está elaborado con leche de oveja. Estos son unos dátiles medjool del Oriente Medio, son muy sabrosos y muy dulces sobre todo. En nuestro restaurante también usamos distintas variedades de especias, como son estas 3. Za'atar, muy típico de la región de Palestina y el Líbano. Sumake, nos lo traen desde Turquía. Y Ras al Hanout, que es muy típico en la zona del norte de África. Estas son unas hojas de parra, las utilizamos para decorar nuestros platos y también se pueden comer. Y nos la traen desde Egipto.
To transport people to different parts of the Mediterranean, we decided that each wall would represent a different culinary scene from a different place in the Mediterranean. So we brought in Martin Yuca, this amazing Peruvian street artist. He does a lot of urban art around Barcelona, to design the wall paintings for us. So this wall behind me is a very typical tablao scene. It's a flamenco, very typical to Andalusia on the Mediterranean in the south. And then moving on, taking you a bit closer to home, the castellers, which is super typical here in Catalonia, where human beings just kind of climb on top of each other and create a human castle, human tower, which hopefully doesn't fall down. And then in the next room, we've got a very typical Italian scene where you've got the stone oven, people pulling a pizza out of the oven, and just like everyone sitting around together in a bodega scene. Right here you've got a French picnic scene where someone's just playing the oud, kind of guitar style instrument, and drinking wine and eating French cheeses in the French countryside in the middle of the vines. And then just as you're going down the stairs, you'll see a Croatian beach scene. So imagine this sandy beach just abandoned with all these little amphoras to represent the age-old culture of wines in the Mediterranean region.